Despite being one of the largest producers, probably we all know we are very poor in processing. Maybe only about 2% of the total produce is processed. That's what we claim, taking everything into consideration. But there are estimates saying that we are almost reaching 10%. But in terms of value addition, I would say we are very, very bad and very poor. That means India is more a raw material, producing country for processing by others. So that's a very bad scenario. A very important and quintessential role in linking the Indian farmers to the consumers. This is something which has to happen. I would say the government machinery and the policies are really striving hard to bring in this sort of a change. Why I tell this is, I know if you look at the production per se in India, we are almost a 1,000 million food producing country in the whole world. But it's all, of course, dominated by horticultural production, which we never expected that we will be at 331.05 million tons by 2021. I think this is a huge jump and leap forward. Probably, I think that fruits, especially vegetables and all other perishables, which we are producing, are contributing very significantly for the health. Of course, in terms of even the grain food production, also we are really leading with around 300 million tons of production. And you take milk, I think probably we are maybe the second largest producers with 23% of the global milk production in India. And I would say here, so that the growth is phenomenally good. And presently we are at 210 million ton production, which is showing an annual growth which is very, very high. Maybe last year to this year, again, it's about 3.3% growth we are seeing. And of course, India ranks third in global egg production. This is another big area which goes just unnoticed, because we are at about 122.11 billion eggs producing country for 1 year, which otherwise probably about 2-3 years back, it was only 91 billion eggs. Imagine the growth here, it's fantastic. And the second largest fish producing country, of course, the production stands at around 14.5 million tons. And probably even sugar, I would say that we are also getting recognized very well. And last year, I think about 70 lakh metric tons of sugar has been exported. And there is a demand further, probably for another 30 or 40 or 50 lakh tons. The grocery retail in India has seen a CAGR of over, I would say, 50%, especially when we speak of online grocery retail. This is one thing which has really prompted the whole industry, I would say, to produce more and to supply more and distribute more, probably of quality. I think the concern of the people is also very much appreciated here, because after the COVID, probably this is the change which we are seeing. And of course, the marine products export also is quite good. In fact, I would say we are, I think, $5.96 billion are, and I would say we have really earned out of it. And top 5 export destinations are like US, China, Japan, Vietnam, and Thailand. And then, of course, the shrimp is one which contributes to the tune of something like 74% of the whole value. And export of cereals is also increasing. And in fact, I would say the other cereals are also gaining momentum. India, of course, with regard to the meat production also, we are at the 8th position with a production of something like about 8.8 million tons. That means we are also becoming a big exporter of meat also. The production of rice, wheat, and nutricereals has increased at a compounded annual growth rate of something like about 2.7 to 3.5% over a few years. And this is a good sign that we are producing good, and which contributes to the economy of the country. And you saw also even the pulses, if you look at, we had a pulse production machine which was started. Probably that also has shown a considerable increase, which earlier the CAGR was something like 7.9, which has slumped down during the last year, maybe because of the withdrawal of the support that was earlier given. So, but the challenges per se, if you look at now, anyway, we understand that we are a huge food producing country in the world, but the challenges still remain, I would say, very grave in the sense, maybe with regard to the supply and demand side, bottlenecks are too many. And it's all not that we are not able to meet the nutritional requirement of the country. Again, when it comes to the qualitative requirement of the nutrition, probably I think we are at a very wrong end. And it's all because of, I would say, the small and dispersed marketable surplus, which gets generated in the rural areas. And we may find it difficult to bring it or transport it with a proper logistics, cold chain logistics and things like that. That is one big problem. And of course, the low farm productivity, because it's a fragmented area, people are not able to adopt good technologies of production as well. Production, maybe the high-end technologies of production with regard to the quality management and things like that, they are becoming very, very important. And the modern agricultural machinery is, of course, being used, but still it is only with the large farmers, which otherwise is becoming difficult for the small farmers to really look at. And probably more of a rain-dependent farming in India, which again, still I would say more than 60% of the area is under rain-fed. So that's where I think we have a lot of, I would say, low productivity problems. And that apart, I think the unsatisfactory quality is another great concern. I would say we want to produce more. In the process of producing more, we are not looking at the quality concerns. In fact, I would say here, we are a biggest producer of tomatoes, but even then, we import tomato for processing. That is the paradox and the tragedy. Probably, I think we need to really take care of such of these issues, maybe with regard to quality on one side, maybe with regard to pest control issues or lack of controlled farming or green farming issues and greenhouse farming and such of those things, which otherwise the infrastructure has to be created for all this.